Well, it's a very good morning. A very good morning from me. So let's get going, shall we? Let's get ourselves organised and sorted. So you want to see me? You don't want to see this great bit of information here. You want to see myself appear live online to our live stream. So let's go online, shall we? So let's click the button. We're live to YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So all is going well there. So all is good. I hope you're well. I'm looking forward to Christmas. Maybe you are too. We've had a little bit of festivity going on, Christmas trees and decorations and things, but a little thing called like slowing the world down a bit, really, which is creeping in for next year. But we'll see what goes on with the world, shall we, when things move on. So I've got for you part 3 of my trilogy on sales coaching, which I'm looking forward to sharing with you guys in the next little while, and hopefully it all goes well, really, because I got some good ideas to share, and I want to give you some ideas to help you with your coaching and your advisor reading and all sorts of things. So without any further ado, let's crack on with our first session, shall we? So let me just go to some slides in. So let's flick on the slides there, as you can see. So there's a picture of me doing my thing. So let's get ourselves into the right frame of mind for our session, shall we? So let's pop me into the scene, shall we? So bang in, ta-da, here we go. So we're in. Hello. Behind the old weather person thing going on here. So what am I talking about then for our live stream today? Well, it's reading advisors online, as you can see from the image there, reading advisors online, because when you're coaching and helping advisors to improve themselves, doing it online, of course, you've got to be able to read people. You've got to be able to understand them, see them, have a look at the face and get what they're saying by body language, which, of course, when you're face to face is, well, it's a learnable skill, but it's not that difficult. When on video, it does have a few more surprises that you've got to get really good at. So let me take you through some ideas that can help you to do that. The first thing about online, though, is you've got to teach your advisor, if you're coaching them or observing them, or in fact, if you're dealing with clients online on video, you've got to show them how to operate. So the first thing with advisors, if you're going to make sure that they are actually on video and they are actually on audio, they mustn't mute or go blank on the video thing. A lot of people do on meetings, but I get all that. But you want to get away from that straight away. And the next thing you want to do with your advisors, and if you're with clients, you've got to be a bit more subtle about this, is you've got to ref them. So there's a picture there of a FIFA referee looking very stern and important. He's got his whistle there, isn't he? Whistling away like a gun. Now, the point about ref is it's an acronym, REF, which is what you use to referee somebody when they're online. With advisors, you can kind of give them feedback and tell them. With clients, you've got to be a little bit more subtle how you operate that. And there's 3 things to ref somebody so that you're able to read them. That's the whole point behind this. There's 3 things you need to do. Again, a nice little acronym for you. The first one is R, the rule of thirds. That's the ref for you, the rule of thirds. You've possibly heard of this before. It's done the rounds in photography for years. But when it comes to video and helping people, you've got to make sure that your person, and you as well, of course, are in the top third. Now, what you need to do is imagine there's some horizontal lines across this screen that are dividing this screen in 3s. So you've got a top line here, and you've got a bottom line here, dividing into 3. You need to put your face in the top third. Ideally, your eyes. If I go forward a bit, you'll be able to see where I'm going to operate from here. Can you see? If I was face to face with you now, that's pretty much as far as I want to go. My head is mostly in the screen, and my eyes are in the top third, the rule of thirds. And you can see me. You can observe me. You can read my body language, my facial expressions, all those things, because I'm in the top third. Teach your advisors to do that, and you won't go far wrong. That's the rule of thirds. Second one is eye contact. Again, we've talked about this forever, really. The key for you and your client and your advisor, of course, is to give eye contact to the video. Give eye contact to the camera. Right now, I'm looking at the camera lens, which is right there. And I'm looking at that lens because that is where you look at me. That's the eye contact sweet spot. And an advisor or client, you need to look at the lens. Now, what you can do, of course, is you can organize the lens of your camera so it is close to the physical eye of the customer. Now, I have webcams and cameras here, on tripods, on gooseneck tripods, which bend, and I make it so that my webcam is right in front of the monitor. So the customers realize are here and the webcam's just here. So I'm looking at the eyes, but also I'm looking at the lens of the camera. That's really important, particularly when you're dealing with clients online, because you can't give people eye contact, haven't you? It's one of the rules of life, isn't it? So that's the RE. And the final one, the F, is front lighting. We need you to light yourself accordingly. Light yourself up so that you can be seen. Now, right now, as you can probably see, I've got lights coming from different angles here. My face is quite well lit. So I'll go a bit closer for you. You can see my face is lit with a front light. There's nothing behind me because I've got these slides. But behind me normally is just a normal vision. So here, for example, is my kind of like zoom zone here. Behind me are just some pictures and stuff like that. And as again, I'm lit up by some lights over there. Okay, you get a bit of a glare in the glasses, but these glasses are non-reflective, so it does allow you to look at the camera and then get some good lighting on your face. Now, the point behind this is that if you're refereeing somebody, you want to make sure that you're able to see them and see them clearly. So you get this kind of image, don't you? There's a picture of an advisor. I don't know, it's a stock picture actually I picked up. There's some more advisors, all looking very happy and excitable. And there's some more as well if you're doing a group meeting as well. These are all people, these are just stock photos, but you can see they followed the rule of thirds really, really well, which is what you should do. And that. Okay, that makes all sense, doesn't it? So we're happy with that. Let's get into reading body language now. And I want to get into a subject of calibration, because what I'm going to ask you to do now is to calibrate people. So what do I mean by calibrating? Well, what I mean by calibrating is where you as an individual look at your advisor when you're coaching them, or you look at your client when you're advising them, and you calibrate them to see how they normally look. And then you want to look for changes in their facial body language, for any other word, or facial hand to face movements. So you're calibrating their normal look, then you're calibrating and you're looking for change in when they're operating. Now, this hit home to me a long time ago now, when I was allowed to travel abroad. Do you remember those days when you could get on a plane and travel abroad for business? And the thing was, I was going to Dubai on business. Now, Dubai, of course, is in the Middle East. It's part of the Middle East area, UAE, around that area. And it's a lovely part of the world for business purposes. And I was asked to go and run 3 one-day workshops for a bank. And we were doing the same workshop every day, which is great. But it meant that I had to take a load of handouts with me. I had about 60 to 70 books, handouts of the materials to give to people on the training courses, because I was doing 3 simultaneous days. So I couldn't send them out enough time, so I had to put them in a suitcase and take them with me. So I had these 2 huge red suitcases on wheels, which I took to Dubai with me on business. And I went out there and I did the 3 days training, gave all the books out, of course. And then on the final day, I was due to catch the last flight back to Heathrow so I could get back in a decent time. So I still had my suit on and everything. I rushed out of the training and I got to the airport on time. And I had these 2 huge suitcases still. One was empty, or just a few bits at the bottom, and the other one had my old clothes in them as well. And I got on the plane, lovely flight, got back to Heathrow, wanted to get through the customs quickly so I could get out and get my train home, or bus, which I was catching at the time. And I was a bit worried about this because, I had these 2 massive suitcases. And I thought, well, they might get a bit funny about this. So I walked through the customs where, nothing to declare. And I caught in the corner of my eye the chap behind the counter who was the customs person, customs officer. And he caught my eye and he goes like this. He says, "Please come over here, sir." Oh no, I'm going to be searched and it's going to take forever, I thought. So anyway, I went over to this guy and he said to me, he looked at me in my suit and the suitcases. And he said, "Sir," he said, may I ask you a few questions? Apologies for interrupting your journey home. I said, "Yes, of course." He said, "You've just had a nice flight then, sir, haven't you?" I said, "Yes, I have. Thank you very much." He said, "Have you just got off the plane from Dubai?" he said to me. Now, I knew what he was doing because I seen it before. And of course, it's obvious because when you're in the customs, there's like a carousel building, isn't there, with big screens saying what flights have arrived. And it was the last one today. And I said, "Yes." He said, great. And he said to me, he said, have you been to Dubai, sir, on business? Now, I had a suit on, tie on. It was unshriveled a little bit, really. I'm not my cotton. I had a tie on, and I said yes. I knew what he was doing. And then he said to me, he said, was the weather nice in Dubai, sir? And I said yes. Of course, it's always nice in Dubai. It's hot, it's a desert country. So what he was doing, this bloke, you see, is he was calibrating my face. He was looking at my face, which was like normal, and he was looking to see what happens when I said yes, which was the truth, because he knew that it was the truth. So he was calibrating my facial expressions for the truth. And then he said to me, because he wanted some no answers this time, he said, sir, he said, were you able to get much sleep on the flight? Now, think about it. It's only, 5 hours or something. And I had my suit on at the end of the day. I said, no. And he asked me a couple other questions and I said, no. So he had calibrated me now. In other words, when I say yes or no, if I'm telling the truth. Then he asked me the big question. He said to me, sir, he said, are you carrying anything in those suitcases that you shouldn't be, sir? And I said, no. And he looked at me and he said, sorry to disturb you, sir. Please venture on. I wish you a safe journey home. And off I went, didn't search the bags. What he'd done is he'd calibrated what I looked like, and he knew if I was going to lie, because he knew that by my facial expressions whether I was lying or not. Clever guy. They're trained to do it. Coppers are trained to do the same thing. And that's the point, you see, about body language, because we're looking at calibrating people here, aren't we? We're looking at calibrating the way they look. And that's the key thing. There's different ways that you can operate here. The best technique to calibrate people, your customer, your advisor, is to look at them. So here's a little example for you, what I want to share with you. Have a go at this exercise. Look at the dot on her nose for 15 seconds. Go on. Now quickly look over here. Hopefully it'll work. Incredible, isn't it? It's just a silly little game, that one. But what we're looking at there is foveal vision. You were staring at that dot on her nose for 10 seconds or so, and that's what we call foveal vision. Foveal vision is where you stare at a spot, like the camera lens. A lot of people that do presenting online, they stare at the camera, which is fine. We're told to look at the camera lens, but not stare at it, because that's foveal vision. What I encourage you to do is to do what we call peripheral vision. In other words, look around yourself. Look around, well, keep an eye on the lens, of course. You look at the lens of the camera, but you're able to allow your gaze to look around you. So when you're looking at the eyes of your customer or your advisor, you're able to look at their facial expressions and maybe a little bit of hand-to-face movement as well, very quickly. And that way you can read them. So peripheral vision is the first thing you want to bear in mind. The second thing I want you to get good at is observing leakage. Now, my man at the customs was looking for me to leak. He was looking for my face to leak to show that I was lying, because he'd calibrated it. Leakage is where you suddenly change your normal look. And that indicates something. We don't know what it is yet. It indicates something. There's a wonderful story of a couple of tennis players, Boris Becker and Andre Agassi, from the 90s, I think, or late 80s. And I'll show you a video clip in a second of this story. It's a brilliant story of how the tennis player was able to beat the other player during the serve purely by watching for facial leakage. Anyway, I'll share with you the picture. There's Boris Becker. You probably notice his, can you notice just there, his tongue in his mouth? That's the indicator here of this story. And it's a great little story. And I'll show you the video. I think you'll enjoy this. Take me out of the picture. Again.
Tennis is about problem solving. It's really what it is. And you can't problem solve unless you have the ability or the empathy to perceive all that's around you. The more you understand what the problem is through other people's lens, the more you can solve for people in life and in business. Boris Becker, for an example, who beat me the first 3 times we played because his serve was something the game had never seen before. Well, I watched tape after tape of him and stood across the net from him 3 different times. And I started to realize he had this weird tick with his tongue. I'm not kidding. He would go into his rocking motion, his same routine. And just as he was about to toss the ball, he would stick his tongue out, and it would either be right in the middle of his lip or it would be to the left corner of his lip. So if he's serving in the deuce court and he put his tongue in the middle of his lip, he was either serving up the middle or to the body. But if he put it to the side, he was going to serve out wide. The hardest part wasn't returning a serve. The hardest part was not letting him know that I knew this.
It's a great story, isn't it? It's a really good story, that. Just put me back in there so you can see me as well. And there's a picture of a very grainy one. We can just about make out this live picture of the tongue. It's fascinating, isn't it? That's leakage. Now, as a coach, an advisor, whatever you are, whatever you're doing here, what you're reading people, you're looking for leakage. What kind of leakage are you looking for? I'm just going to give you a quick whistle-stop tour of a few ideas. And on our workshops, we go into this in a lot more detail. The first thing to look out for is, here's some pictures here, of a few hand-to-face gestures, as you can see here. Obviously, there's smiling people here. Hand-to-face gestures are very simple and easy to see online, and you're able to see what people are thinking. Here's a few ideas to give you some more. These you appreciate people hand-to-face, unsure. This lady's thinking over here. She's sort of happy, hand-to-face. Hand-to-face is a lovely way of observing body language, particularly leakage. So you're talking to someone who's like that, you know, or those kind of things is a great way of understanding how people are thinking. But the one I want to share with you, which I'll let you have a go at yourself at your own time, comes from some fantastic work by this guy here called Professor Paul Ekman. Doesn't he look like a professor? He really does, doesn't he? He's just got that tie, blue shirt, yellow tie, grey sort of cardigan, the jacket. He looks like a professor, doesn't he? But he's written some great books on emotions and recognizing faces and feelings to improve communication. So this is something that's been going on for years before we all started doing Zoom. And so it's a brilliant book. You might want to get it for Christmas, because it does share with you what they call the 7 emotions. So here's a picture of the 7 universal emotions. Now, you'll notice that these pictures of people are showing the 7 emotions: surprise, fear, disgust, content, anger, happy, and sad. And there are 3 or 4 things in somebody's face that indicates that they are actually showing those emotions. And you can learn it. Well, I haven't got time today, but you can learn it. It's a very simple thing to do. But they've already taught it to computers or artificial intelligence that recognizes people. So you've probably seen this kind of stuff. You know, here we are, candidates' facial expressions during video job interviews are being analyzed by artificial intelligence. They're able to plot every part of a face now, a computer, and they can work out what this person's thinking. And they can observe people walking down a high street now, looking for criminals, probably terrorists and stuff like that. But computers have been doing this now for quite a while. As you can see, they're plotting eyes, nose, mouth. That's the facial expressions that you need to be looking for that shows the emotions. And they've obviously plotted that on that picture there as well. So spooky stuff. It just shows you that computers can do this quite quickly. So can we. We can learn to do this, and that's the key here. You can learn to read it. Have a look at the book, find out how it works. But the key thing here is what I like to call the methodology. I've got these 3 steps that you operate. First of all, you watch somebody's face closely. So, you know, you're talking to somebody, you're watching them closely. Then I'd like you to say, what did your intuition say to you? When you see a facial expression come up, what does your gut instinct tell you? And then what you want to do is act and feel the same emotion. So act out their facial expressions and feel the emotion yourself. That's a really good way of testing that you actually read people and read people properly. And there's a great website here, which you can go to. These, by the way, are the ways of doing it. Here's the different sort of ways and the eyes move and the mouth moves. You can learn how to do that. But here's this website as a test where they test your emotional intelligence, really. It's really clever stuff. So you can actually work out what that person's thinking by using your intuition and acting out their expression and feeling the emotion. Have a go at it. Here's the website if you wanted to take a photograph of that, or just pause the video and rewind it. It's free. You can go there and do a great little test, and that gives you an idea how people operate visually. There's more time we spend on that in the future. But the point is, though, that you're able to read people and read them well. find out how they tick, look for leakage, do peripheral vision. And if you can start to read people online, so there's me online with you, just talking, chatting, whatever that is. If you can start to read my face, understand what I'm thinking, match that with my words, and then you're able to really communicate well on video. That's been the whole purpose behind these 3-part sessions that we've been doing. You need to take some action here, of course. Action planning is what it's all about. Remember, my main message to you has been to stop, let go, and then coach people as a coach. 2022 is all about coaching. The FCA, remember, are on this. They want you to give proper oversight to your people. So you need to learn how to coach or get some people to do it for you. So you need to be able to do that and operate in the modern world that we find ourselves. So I hope you enjoyed that session. Great work. Okay, let's just ping back over here, because this is where I sort of chat to you and all those good things. We've got another live stream next Tuesday. It'll be the last one, I think, or Monday, last one before Christmas, because Christmas is only a week and a half away, isn't it? We've got some really exciting things coming up for you in 2022 to help you in your mortgage business. The one I'm really excited about is I'm doing an hour live stream on Wednesday evening, I think, in the new year, where we're talking about goal setting, how to set goals in your mortgage advisory practice. So it's goal setting, but with a mortgage advisor practice context surrounding it, because it's got to be real and practical. So it's only 15 quid. So just to cover the costs, really. And that way includes VAT. Nice one. VAT at 20% makes all the difference, isn't it? So that's coming up in the new year. So I'm excited to broadcast live on that one, give you some great ideas to set some goals, a little bit of NLP, so you can embed those goals and start to breathe them and live them, rather than boring old sort of specific measurable goals. Make them really exciting. Then how to turn them into quarterly objectives, turn the quarterly objectives into monthly strategic actions, and how to manage your diary and your email inbox. So some really practical stuff to help you as a mortgage advisor. That's coming up in the new year. Other than that, we've got lots of boot camps coming. We've got Boot Camp Bonanza, we've called it. Got 4 boot camps available to you. These are the pre-recorded stuff, videos, audios, revision guides that you can access at any given time. Remember, our role is to help you to become an even better mortgage advisor in 2022. And that's what these live streams are all about. Here we are. Okay, well, we're wrapping up now because it's time to go. If you're listening on podcasts, hope you've gained some benefits from these as well. If you're on YouTube, great for you to like the video and contact me and wish me happy Christmas. I wish you happy Christmas as well, but we'll do that next week because we've still got 2 weeks to go, haven't we? Other than that, have fun, enjoy your week, and it's bye from me. Bye for now.